very well, Felix, and it is a very interesting day. We, of course, are still waiting for the new updates that are coming out for season two, but now we're seeing on Instagram that there seems to be some kind of Canadian map. Something's happening in Canada, and I don't see this, I don't think I see this anywhere on the roadmap here. So let's talk about it. They're going to be at PAX East in 2024, March 24th. And actually coming up in 2 weeks, they're going to be in Boston doing the PAX Gaming Conference, which is not just video games but board games as well. They're going to have their own uh, booth. They're going to have their own booth there, and they're going to be presenting the game as well as other astragon projects they've been working on. One of them was the Howl and of course Police Simulator and all those other great games that they've published. But one in particular game that I was interested in going to see personally was Construction Simulator for the PC and the consoles. And one reason I wanted to go and see, of course, I wanted to see the people who were behind the game that I love so much, as well as play the game with players like me who love the game. I was also intrigued to see what they might bring to that conference because typically you try to showcase something, you do new DLC or maybe tease at something. And unfortunately, I did not book my ticket. Um, I have some other things that I've been doing. In fact, one reason you guys haven't seen me is because I've been at the Renaissance Fair every weekend for the past 2 months. I've been a part of a nonprofit charity organization called the Adrian Empire. I'm a cast member there, and I've been tasked with fighting in the field, on the jousting field, and I'm really enjoying it. I get to be a part of the community in a way that's unlike any other way that you can imagine when you're at the Renaissance Fair. Um, so I've been doing that. I've been very busy with that and having a lot of fun. If you're following me on my social media, which is Jesse Graywolf, you will see some photos from that. Of course, there's plenty more, but there's thousands of photos that we still have to post and go through. So when those start coming out, I'll start posting them more often. I want to get back to our Saturdays and Sundays, Concept Saturday, Concept Sunday. I would also like to get back into doing our weeknight construction simulator games. But for now, that's just not the case. I've got to focus on some things that are more important, like my physical health, mental, spiritual health, as well as doing this nonprofit charity organization work, which I'm really loving. It's very fulfilling. What's also fulfilling is what the developers are doing for Construction Simulator, and that is releasing new content, keeping us updated on the roadmap, and surprising us with these ninja updates. I mean, one ninja update in particular was when they released the flashlights. Like, I don't think anyone's seen that one coming. And as well as doing some hot fixes for us, which we didn't know that we needed, or at least, some people knew we needed, but I think a lot of us were oblivious because our stuff's working just fine. The Construction Accelerator Gold Edition is still slated to come out April 4th, but they've teased something about Canada, and I'm not seeing it here on the roadmap. I'm only seeing it on Instagram and Facebook pages, things like that. The Leap Year Pack also set to come out in quarter 2, which is going to be around the same time as April 4th. So they're saying like April 4th, somewhere around there, we're going to get the Leap Year Pack. A lot of people were assuming that at this PAX East Gaming Conference, we were going to see the Leap Year Pack, and it's quite possible that people who are going to be at the PAX East Gaming Conference in Boston, Massachusetts, will get to play with the new Leap Year Pack and see the machines firsthand. Canada. Something's happening in Canada. I would love a Canadian map. The idea of like a North American setting that's lush and green, just like we got in the DLC with the South American setting, is going to be a lot of fun. And I look forward to a lot of dirt roads. I look forward. I mean, one thing was they added new what was it, Hotfix 9 or 10 was something like new animals uh on the DLC map, which was something that I don't think we knew we needed until we had it, and it's more immersive. for the game. I can assume that Canada is going to have a lot of those features where it's lots of animals, lots of dirt roads, lots of forest, um, maybe some more Easter eggs for us to discover. And I could see also maybe seasonal changes with that new DLC map. You know, Canada is very temperate with fall. You're gonna have the changing colors of the trees. That would be really cool to see in the fall. Winter, it gets snowy, so maybe we see some snow. I don't know. Maybe Canada is the map they're gonna try and test dynamic weather on for us. Just a speculation. That would be excellent. Either way, even without those things, I think a Canadian map would be a lot of fun. Just running the machines. I mean, we got so many great machines that have these great off-road tires that are screaming to be driven down a dirt road. And I personally cannot wait to get the crew out there and start messing around with these sites and seeing what we're building. And as you know, there's always a campaign involved with the maps, whether it's the Europe map, the American map, or the South American DLC map. I did notice something that the airplane DLC is available not just on the American map, but on the European map as well. So as long as you have the DLC for the airplane um, campaign, you could do it on either map. You could do it on both maps if you want, which is pretty cool. If you don't have the airfield DLC and you want the airfield DLC, let me tell you, it's a lot of fun. It's a great, it's a great campaign, extended campaign DLC. If you don't have it and you want it, leave a comment below. Tell me why you should get it, and I will give you a Steam key for the DLC itself, courtesy of the publishers. Okay, from me to you, from the publishers to me to you. If you don't have the Airfield DLC and you would like the Airfield DLC, leave a comment below and I will give you a key for that DLC. Now back to Canada. Um, I'm curious to see what our campaign is going to be on the Canada map. I know in the South American map it was about us getting this rocket into space, getting this spaceport together. And I really liked how everything was centralized over in the port area. You know, things had to be imported into that island. It's not like it's just an island that has infrastructure already on it. And it was cool seeing the little alien spaceship, over in the forest somewhere and finding all the Easter eggs that they had hidden along the shorelines. Um, and then, of course, the campaign's spectacular ending where you launch a rocket into space. That's really cool. So Canada, I don't know what Canada would have in store for us. And if it was anything, if they don't have anything spectacular campaign-wise, such as launching a rocket into space, like I said before, maybe this is their testing ground for dynamic weather. Maybe this is where they're going to test rain and mud and soil features such as so. Maybe this is where they're going to try to feature things like snow, or even just the colors of the trees changing in the fall. That would be so cool. And even if the Canada map is set into one season, I would pray that that season is fall because that would be such a beautiful place to work. Canada, North America in particular, the Northern Hemisphere, North America in particular, in the fall is a beauty to behold. Um, so Canada, I'm seeing a lot of mud, dirt roads. I'm seeing a lot of like soil jobs, a lot of like maybe even a lot of land development jobs. That would be so my God, that'd be amazing. And also maybe we'll see some smaller jobs that we don't typically see around the other maps because I noticed that there's all these really great machines that we have for small jobs, but there's not a lot of small jobs for us to really enjoy. There's not a lot of small jobs that require you to use those machines unless you go out of your way to use them. A lot of times the scale is small job and then it just rockets up to these huge campaign missions, especially like in the Spaceport DLC. Those missions were humongous. And if you were doing them alone, you were doing one task on hard difficulty, on high scope, you were doing that for 36 hours. We had some guys on the Discord channel recording themselves digging out the pit for the massive final campaign, and I think it took him 36 hours, but that was proficiently digging every single day and doing it in a way that's like, not driving the dump truck to the gravel plant, but just, auto emptying it. So I can imagine there'll be some big campaign missions for us to do, and maybe those big campaign missions will be just to build infrastructure into the wildlands of Canada, which would be, for me, land development, which is one of my favorite things to do. When they introduced land development contracts in CS2 for the mobile, that was my favorite thing to do. In fact, I would make a whole new profile just to get myself to the point where the land development contracts opened up again so that I could do them all over again. I loved it. And I would even like expand the contract to like make it, more difficult for myself to enjoy it further, to really extend the life of that contract because I loved land development. I noticed there was one or two land development jobs in the Spaceport DLC. I'm sad that there weren't more of them. I feel like there could be more of them in the future, especially with maybe a season 3 or something we see in season 2. But with Canada, I think there's a real chance for land development jobs where we're building roads, maybe even the possibility of these grandiose highway jobs that we've always wanted, where it's, three or four of those connected land development road jobs where it's just like a miles, a stretch of land that we're carving and paving, or even, well, I don't personally like paving, but just carving out the land and then putting up plots of homes and stuff. That would be so cool. Um, so we'll see. We'll see. I have no idea. Um, I'm not in the loop on any of this stuff. Like I said, I've been kind of away from what's been going on with Construction Simulator, especially with the community. Everyone's been playing, and I love it. They love the game. They've been playing the game. The developers are always, fixing and hot fixing and ninja fixing and ninja updating, and then they're always giving us new updates on the roadmap as well. So you can go find the roadmap yourself if you just look up the weltenbauer roadmap. They're always doing something for the game, and I love that. And I've been kind of busy with my personal life, but enjoying what I'm doing outside of Construction Simulator. But I still wanted to come back today and talk to you guys about this and speculate about the new Canada map. And I can't wait to see what's in store for us. New campaign DLC. Ooh, this is the new huge construction site for the European. Of course, that's planned for quarter 2 as well. I think that the leap year pack, the stuff for season 2 is going to come out before we see the Canada map. I think the Canada map might be something that we see at the end of quarter 4. Maybe this is something we see in season 3. Maybe they're saving Canada for season 3, but we still have a lot to look forward to with the season 2. And as you can see here, quarter 3 for 2024 is to be announced. And in quarter 4, we have another vehicle pack, which a lot of us are speculating could be Volvo or some other pack. Who knows? But the Leave Your pack is coming out quarter 2, as well as Gold Edition. So if you don't have the base game yet, and you haven't experienced Season 1 content, which again, if you don't have any Season 1 content, you're interested in having some Season 1 DLC content, and maybe you don't want to buy the gold pack, leave a comment below and I will pick some winners to actually get some Steam keys for Season 1 DLC content, including the airfield, the spaceport, things like that. Season 2 DLC campaign. We speculated that Season 2's DLC campaign is going to be a soccer field, which is going to be a huge job to do. Vehicle pack number 4. We're thinking that's going to be Volvo. And then we've got another vehicle pack in quarter 1 of 2025. That could be Volvo. Who knows? They're not telling us much. And then cosmetic pack. But to be continued is more bug fixes as always, performance improvements as always, multiplayer improvements as always. Communication features is the yellow. So this is planned. This is something they're actively working on. Communication features in multiplayer, which is something we're always looking forward to, whether it's emotes, or voice activated talking, something to be able to communicate. More vehicle DLCs are planned. I mean, on top of what we're already getting with vehicle packs, mission campaign DLCs. I think that's going to go in with Canada for sure. Interchangeable attachments for the excavators. This is something that's planned. It's no longer in the wish list, phase. This is something that they're working on. They're planning it. They're figuring out how it's going to operate. I mean, a lot of people have wanted interchangeable attachments for excavators for a long time. So they're working on it. These guys are always working on the game. And additional character customization, which I love to see that because I feel like the customer characterization is a huge point for players to enjoy a game, to get immersed into a game, to really become attached to the game, is the character that they create. Of course, I've got my silly character Construction Man with his, his mask and everything, but some people take it seriously. I would love to see, the feature to choose gloves. I would love to see the way to choose your helmet and your glasses and your outfit, like what you're wearing and your boots. I mean, all those things, and maybe even more features for, character customizations, not just these preset six figures we can choose from, but maybe more like facial hair, the hair that you wear when you take your helmet off, eye color, things like that. Additional character customization is being planned. So they are planning it. They're figuring out how to implement it. And then of course, future wish list is still here. Vehicle modding, which is something that a lot of people want. I don't think that it's a make or break for the game because the game already is offering so much. Vehicle modding is just something that kind of adds a cherry to the top. I don't think vehicle modding is that necessary for games. There's a lot of great games out there that don't have modding at all, and they're still amazing. I think vehicle modding muddies the water a little bit for me. Personally, when I was playing SnowRunner and modding came out, modding was cool, but then there was mods that ruined the strategy of the game. There's vehicles that just dominated and it took away from the gameplay loop. It took away from the pressure of being tactile with your job. You just drive through the mud pit. And you're like, fuck, I'm gonna carry all these logs with my truck, and they're gonna be, they're hooked up, and I can just drive through 6 feet of mud, and I'll be fine. I feel like vehicle modding is not necessary, but people love it. Vehicle modding can really muddy the way that the game is played by certain players, and it also makes it hard for multiplayer too. But vehicle modding is still there. It is there. It's on the wish list. They know you want it, which means that it can eventually go from here to here. And even in this vehicle modding things, because of the complexity and available vehicles, machines, vehicle modding in Construction Simulator is an extremely complicated topic. Construction Simulator 2015 made us learn that nearly no modder was able to get a modding vehicle work without extensive support of the developer team. So when you guys are crying that there's no modding in this game, just remember, even in 2015, it was incredibly hard for people to make these vehicles work. Okay? And in the new construction simulator, the vehicle setup are even more complex. So long story short, the topic is still discussed and may be an option for the future, but we can't promise yet. Uh, People try to use Farming Simulator as an example for vehicle modding, and let me just tell you, Farming Simulator was built on its own engine. Vehicle modding was built into the engine by the developers. Construction Simulator is built on the Unity engine, and the developers did not create the Unity engine. So even people who mod on Farming Simulator, when they go over to Unity engine and try to mod, they're like they don't know what to do. So modding is still something that they know that you want, but it's still on the wish list and it's incredibly complicated. Mission modding as well. They didn't go into depth about mission modding. Personally, I would love mission modding. I know that there were some great missions in Construction Simulator 2015, one of them being the Forbidden Tower. And if you play 2015, you know what I'm talking about. The Forbidden Tower was an extremely extensive job that someone had created in the mission modding, um, and while we were playing it, we actually had the developers join us one day on a multiplayer game and try to help us build this Forbidden Tower. And while they were building this game that we're playing today, Construction Simulator 2022, they drew inspiration from that mission to give us mission scope, from small, medium to large. They gave us mission scope based on how difficult that job was. So mission modding over vehicle modding, in my opinion, is way more important because mission modding gives us the ability to expand the gameplay cycle of Construction Simulator and utilize the machines that we've been given already with all the vehicle packs that we have, including missions on Canada, which is something that's coming out, and I'm not sure when, but I cannot wait to see that Canada map. Weather and seasons, this feature would be extremely complex and it isn't planned yet. All right, so I take back any predisposition or any desire that Canada or any idea that Canada is going to have weather. If Canada has fall at least. If Canada's stuck in the fall season, that's still really cool to me. Destruction and demolition, people still want this. It would be a nice addition, but are highly complex topics because they need physics systems. Currently, this isn't planned. For now, we are concentrating on building things. I love that. For now, we're concentrated on building things. Very clever. So, no, if you want demolition and stuff, there's a great game called Wreck It. I think it's called Wreck It. Go play Wreck It. There's also a game that Astragon's building right now. I think they're just starting to release the promotions for it. That's also built around a physics engine where you destroy things. If you want destruction and demolition, go check out that game, and I guarantee when it comes out, we'll be playing it and we'll be reviewing it. Chat option for multiplayer, something that is a little complicated, and I think we've gone in the nuances of why chat for multiplayer is so hard. But communication features is over here and chat's over here. So communication features could be emotes, it could be walkie-talkie. Who knows? Who knows? I think the emote thing was something we talked about a long time ago in CS 2015 with the developers while they were still making this game. And this is something that they are planning, but they haven't, they're not working on it yet. It's just in the planning stages. Shared company and multiplayer. This is something kind of cool. Shared company would be really cool, and maybe that goes hand in hand with dedicated servers. And a lot of people would love to see dedicated servers just as much as they would love to see vehicle modding. AI helper for roadworks. More complicated than it seems to be. We will see if this might be an option for the future. This was surprising to me that we didn't see it in the base game when it came out, because I know that this was a feature that was in CS2 for the mobile as well as CS3 for the mobile. I don't know why it's so complicated, but these are things that are nuanced to me. I'm not a developer. I'm not creating code and I'm not making the models and as far as they've been saying with vehicle modding, how extremely extensive the support would be and how construction simulator the vehicle setups are even more complex. I'm sure that AI helper is just something of that complexity that's hard for them to try to figure out, make it work properly without, making the game feel broken. I mean, it would for me it would be better to not have a feature than to have a feature that's broken and makes the game not enjoyable. I would rather just not have the feature than to have the feature and have it be janky or kitty wampus. I just would rather not have it. So AI helper is something that is on the wish list. Complicated thing. Who knows if we ever see it, but it's not a game breaker. Manual labor, digging, compacting, concrete pouring. I don't know who's playing this game to do manual labor. If you want manual labor, go get a job doing manual labor. I'm playing this game, personally, I'm playing this game to use the machines. I'm playing this game to get behind an excavator. I'm playing this game to get behind the wheel of a dump truck. I'm not playing this game to dig a hole or pour concrete. I'm not playing this game to be the guy in the trenches. I'm playing the game to be the guy in the excavator digging the trenches. I'm not playing it to do this physical labor stuff. This is a nuanced thing in an already nuanced community. But it's on their wish list. I mean, they know that some people want it. They did introduce some kind of feature where we unpack things. So they are trying to, implement these more immersive features where the characters are doing some of the hands-on labor. But manual labor digging, no way. I mean, we already don't use the small excavators as much as we could. I doubt that manually digging out a hole or something is going to be something people want to do very often. I think it would be wasted resource, in my opinion, to be wasted resource to try to implement something like this. And also, it would take up a lot of memory space on a game and improvements and trying to make it work for the consoles. Just nah, I wouldn't even bother with it. Visual improvements for securing vehicles on low loaders. Now that's something again not super necessary, but still this is something I think would help with the immersion of the game. Visual improvements for securing vehicles, just something that people, I guess people feels a make or break for them. I personally don't think so. I think it's just fine. In fact, most of the time we don't even load the vehicles on the low loaders, unless we're trying to be cinematic or we're like Jacob from Operation. What is that? Jacob from one of our. He's a member of our server. Cheers to you, Jacob. But he's got his own YouTube channel, and I'm having a brain fart right now. He plays totally immersively, down to down to driving the machines to a gas station if he has to. This might be something more for him. Again, very nuanced thing, just like having the manual labor stuff. Super not important, but it's there on the wish list. They know you want it. Track IR has been delivered. Tobii eye tracking has been delivered. And of course, those features are excellent features, and I can't wait to see VR. And as one of the developers had shined a light on during our interviews a couple years ago, he said that some of the developers working on the project are very passionate, and one actually managed to make a model for the VR headset inside one of the trucks. So these guys are working on a VR model for sure. It's just something that's not talked about here. It's maybe something that is going to be a ninja update that we see, or maybe something we don't see at all. But still, Canada was teased today via their Instagram and their Facebook, so their public profiles, and I'm excited personally to see what they got going on um, with uh, with Canada. So before we go, let's go ahead and check real quick the ConSim announcements. I want to look at this. It's not even on the ConSim announcements. Are you serious? Wait, it's got to be, maybe it's in community. No. Interesting. Ooh. Well, if anything, the spring sale is going on right now. 90% off most of the games, which means I'm probably going to grab myself Firefighter Simulator. I've always wanted to try that game for you guys. But they teased, all it really said is there's something happening in Canada. You guys know what I'm talking about if you know what I'm talking about. And it's not even here. It's not on the Discord in the news. It's just simply on our social media, and it's not here in the roadmap. So I don't know, whatever you guys think, go ahead and leave your comments below. I could have some hot takes in here. Give me your opinions on the future wish list things here. Give me your opinions on Canada, what you think it's going to be, and also let me know what you think the Canada maps will have. And if you don't have the DLCs like the airport or the spaceport DLC and you would really like them, leave a comment as well and let me know why you deserve to get a Steam key. Until then, guys, this is Grey Wolf from Grove Construction. Stay hydrated, and I'll see you on the site.